everybody. Duane here once again from Duane and Media, Food, Travel, and Fun. And tonight I am back in the kitchen and I'm going to make something that I just love. So I actually made this recently and I really felt I needed to make it for you. So it's a simple recipe, doesn't have a lot of ingredients, and the best thing about it is you can really vary what you put in here. So it's ceviche. There are so many variations, I couldn't even get into it. So this is Duane's variation. This is my own. I love my seafood, and I've got some seafood, I got some variety. What I'm going with is I'm using, this is store-bought shrimp from a bag, just raw, peeled, deveined, ready to go. Store-bought salmon, and also raw, which is not going to be cooked other than in the ceviche itself. And some tautog that we caught that I filleted up at the end of last season. It's been vacuum sealed, and that's going in as well. I am going to cook the shrimp slightly. I'm going to undercook it and let it finish off inside of the actual liquid once I make it up. So the cooking, the real cooking, is right here. It's lime juice. This is what really makes the magic happen. So the salt may also be a little bit of a, as it draws out liquids, and it very likely will soften up my little Bermuda onions a bit. It'll help the lime along its way. I do have one fresh lime and one little lemon. The lemon I just had, I grew it, it needed to be used. And I feel that it's complementary, so I'm going to use the lemon in mine. I don't like to put olive oil in this mix because it's eaten cold. And when it gets cold, olive oil will congeal a little bit. So I'm only using the olive oil to cook the shrimp. So I'm just going to use a small amount of it. I'm not really going to go get heavy on the olive oil at all. Just enough. I'm going to chop the shrimp up into small little chunks. I'm going to dice up the fish as well. Everything gets chopped up. Pretty much, you know, good little bite-sized pieces, maybe a little bigger. I'll show you everything before it's all said and done. We got some of these are the Portuguese peppers. Very often you'll see people use habaneros. They'll use, I don't know, jalapenos, different peppers, whatever your preference is. Like I said, ceviche, the world is yours. You can really just go with what you want. The key ingredient is definitely the lime juice. Don't do without it. To me, I don't even mind. I'm using garlic powder. I can use a little bit of minced garlic, which I might, because I do like the addition of what it brings. I personally I have paprika and chili powder, which I also like the flavors brought by them. I'm not initially going to add any other pepper to this, although I like a little kick and everything in that direction, so I may add a little bit. You can use Frank's. Personally, I tend to lean more towards maybe if you had like a Mexican, something a little more in that direction. I don't want to. Sriracha is not, but we have some different. I have some choices, and I'm gonna try some. Who knows? I might even go crystal because I just love it. But I have a feeling I'm going to add a pepper to this mix. This here is another kind of key to the flavor I like, and cilantro. I've already chopped it up fine, and it really brings it's the right essence from an herb. I love my parsley, but I do like cilantro a lot as well, and it just works really well with this. So let me chop this stuff up, get this all prepped for you. I can do a little bit of warp speed prepping, and I'll bring you guys back in a few minutes when I get everything kind of prepped and ready and chopped and good to go, and I'll just bring it all together for you. I still got to squeeze those little guys, dump a bunch of juice in. Got some work to do. So hang out, watch me do it, and so as you saw, I quickly made short work of all of my ingredients except for the fish. You know what, that's a little bit of almost like a membrane right there. And I'm going to set that aside. I'm cutting these into, you know, not too small chunks. I wanted the chunks, there you go, this is a good example. That's the size I'm kind of looking for. Bite size, not too small, but nice, healthy little nibble there. And this is my beautiful, beloved little tautog, one of my absolute all-time favorites. And I'm going, this one is has a little bit more chew to it than the salmon. The salmon is more tender, especially the fattier the piece on your salmon, the more tender it is. So I'm gonna, if anything, I want to cut these a little thinner. See, look at that. I'm finding some of that little, it's almost like a silvering right there. But you can see I can almost like pull on this and it doesn't just come apart. So I can definitely cut these a bit smaller than I cut those. This is a good amount of, you know, fit between the fish and the shrimp. This is a nice amount to add here. So anyways, I'm cutting these up. I'm keeping them about, you know, like the size of a die, right? You know, dice. So it's a good size piece to go with. Not too big. You want them small enough so that they do actually cook. I mean, if I had absolutely fresh, you know, fresh caught, sashimi grade fish to work with, I wouldn't be as concerned. Since I know I've had this fish, it's been in the freezer a long time. I've had it around a bit. Some of it came from the store. So I'm going to play it safe. So I will take you over to the stove and show you the other cooking process. But in the meantime, all right, so I got about a 1/4 cup of my lime lemon juice mix. And for all of this, I mean, this is, you know, let me bring that back into frame here. I can move this plate over. That's a lot of stuff for a 1/4 cup of juice. Matter of fact, way too much. It's just not, that's just not enough juice. Matter of fact, so as you can see, I just shot that up to a good 1.5 cups, maybe even a little further. Okay. I'm gonna start adding in, like, you know, the salt you don't need a lot of because you're getting so much is coming from the lime and the lemon in my case. The paprika, I just like the essence it provides, that smokiness that gets in there. And it is a smoked paprika, so include that. Chili powder brings me to that little Mexican direction, a little bit. Even though, you know, it's, you know, people say, oh, that's what you make chili with. It is an ingredient in chili, but really, you need cumin. I'm not using cumin here, but I am using some chili powder. And of course, garlic powder, a nice, healthy amount. I like it very garlicky, but that's a personal preference. Let me use this little fork here, kind of mix this all in, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a dry taste. Just these base ingredients. This is going to be really strong. This is going to be so acidy because it is, when all of these ingredients absorb the acid that's in here, it gets tempered quite a bit. And the ingredients, you want that acidy bite, but you don't, it isn't never going to be as strong. What I'm looking for here is to see if my other spices have really done what I'm after, given me what I'm after. Oh, I'm actually quite pleased with that. The only one, believe it or not, even though I added a lot, is the garlic. So I will include a recipe, a written recipe with this. It's all arbitrary, I'm going to be honest with you. It's what you like it is to taste. I really recommend that you do it just like I'm doing. Bring your ingredients in and then give it a dry taste. But if it's not garlicky enough, if it's not spicy, if there's no kick, that's the one thing I'm missing is, let me go pick out a pepper, a sauce that I can add to this and give it that little kick. I know what you're about to say, and the answer is no. Didn't he just add a ton of powder, and that really looked like it should have been enough garlic, don't you think? Well, it needs a teaspoon more. Like I said, I don't think you can really overdo the garlic in this recipe. So I'm going with a combination Crystal hot sauce, which is very close to your Frank's. It's very similar. Not too much, enough to give it a little something. And then this is also this is just one I happen to like that a friend of mine's makes. So I actually got this from his supply that he sells at his local restaurant. And it is a place out here in Fairhaven called The Nook. And it's excellent. So it's a nice, it's super thick for one. And I can't wait to see what kind of bite I've got in here now, because it's what I like. Oh, perfect. I'm not changing this at all. So the last thing that's going to go in is the shrimp. Because I bring it over to the oven and cook it. But in the meantime, so this is going to take hours at the very least. I would honestly not even attempt to serve this up. The way you tell is when you look at the fish, it actually will be turning white. So if your fish isn't turning white, it's not ready. So that's going to be your guide. That takes hours at a minimum. And so you put it all together, you put it in the fridge, you chill it, and you keep it chilled until your fish is nice and white. Now, if you wait till the next day, you make it today, that's what I'm doing. I won't be touching this for at least 12 hours. So, but I'm going to bring this up close for you, just so you can see just how beautiful the base is without the fish. So I want you to get a nice little look in there. I hope that shows well. It's hard to tell. But you know what? I'm going to take an extra shot of that just for you, because it really is a beautiful mixture that comes together. I go to a local restaurant, Los Andes in Providence, and they use leche de tigre, which really, tiger's milk, adds to this. It's a wonderful addition. I don't have tiger's milk. I'm not making tiger's milk. But what I've done here, I'm very pleased with. So let me get a little shot of it, and I'll add the fish. I'll let that start cooking while I do some real cooking with the shrimp. All right, so here, now you can get a nice view. All right, there she is. It really is a beautiful mix. I'm gonna gently add in the fish, and the reason being that the taug is fine, but the salmon is a bit more delicate, and I don't want to break my salmon up. I don't want to break up either of the fish. I love the size I've got going here, and as you can see, it really, the liquid comes right up. No problem getting this liquid level where I need it so that everything is covered. And I will. I'm going to basically put some saran wrap over this little bowl here. But there you go. So you can see it. You can see that this really would be like a beautiful, I mean, when it's time and it's ready, that is an amazing bite of seafood and vegetables just blended together with this, oh, the lime, the way it just brings out all of, like, it just brightens everything. This is just a really, really satisfying side dish that I just love to make. I will be honest. I will eat all of this, including the shrimp, this entire bowl, 3 nights. This will last me about 3 days. So, because I'll eat it by itself. I won't just, it doesn't have to be a side dish with something else. I can just sit down and have it as a snack by itself because I just love it that much. But let me bring you over to the stove and show you what I got going on next with the shrimp. I'm going to show you how quickly I cook it, and the fact that I really don't want to cook it through. I'm going to let this finish it off. All right, so not going to go too crazy. That's it. It's all the olive oil I want in there. I really want this to not be like smothered in oil at all. So I got this on a medium flame right now. This pan should be getting nice and hot. I'll be able to see how thin this oil looks. Oh yeah. Hearing a couple little crackles. Perfect. So I'm going to do this on this high flame, medium anyways. And yep, she went right into the sizzle. And notice the color is changing quickly on these pieces. I'm not going to stop moving it. I am just going to keep mixing and moving, mixing and moving, and just getting some color on this. So what I'm going to do as well is when this is done, I'm not putting it straight into my ceviche because that's cold and I want it cold. So I don't want this hot shrimp going into it. I'm not going to rinse it. I'm just going to let it cool for a few minutes. Just enough so that when it's in there, it doesn't like really raise the temperature any at all. So it might raise it a touch, but I'm going to make sure that it's essentially cooled down to room temp here. So you see a little bit of cilantro got mixed in there. It's quite okay. I can smell the shrimp. You can see it's starting to change color pretty quickly. But this is almost done. I do not want to overly cook it. I don't even want to fully cook it. I want to make sure it goes in and the ceviche can really sink into it. So that's why I kept the flame pretty high, because that tends to cook the outside and not cook something through all the way. Just going to slow it down, my movement, as I look for pieces that I don't like the color so much. And I'm trying to... But you can tell this almost looks like cooked shrimp, and that's what I'm going for. Just about. You know. So I would say that's what? Good 60 seconds to maybe a little touch over 60 seconds of cook time. And that is all safely cooked. You could very safely eat this as is. So I'm going to turn that off. That's done. So I'm going to put that right in this little, I got this little guy right here. I can probably show you right there as I do it. It's just going in. No big deal. Get it out of the pan. Stop that sizzle. See, that is just too hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a setting so it cools even better. Be right back right here. Put it on the plate, spread it out, let the air really get to it. Heck, I'm blowing on it and it's starting to cool already, see? But it really looks just about completely cooked, but it is just on the light end of fully cooked. Like, I wouldn't serve it that way to people. I would just give it another, you know, half a minute more, and that's where I would serve it. Still warm. As I blow on it, I can still feel it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to spend the next couple minutes, let it keep exposing out to the air, and let it cool. So, this has had about 5 minutes, maybe a touch more. To really cool off. It feels slightly warm when I blow on it. But that's not hot at all. And now I can just add it in. And there you go. And I'm going to gently mix it in with the rest. Like I said, I really don't want my fish to break up. I don't want that salmon breaking up. But I need everything to kind of get in there and get underneath. And you can tell this bowl, she's full. But as you press it down, you can get that lime juice to really rise right to the top. So this was a perfect bowl for this. I think the bowl, I probably couldn't have selected a better bowl. Yeah. It's all underneath now. I see all the juice is right here at the top. I'll bring it nice and close and you can see. Let me bring that up to you. That is going to cook beautifully. Watch, there you go. I don't want to tilt it too much, but I will bring it nice and close for you. I'm going to just plastic wrap it nice and tight, stick it in the fridge, and I'll bring it back in the morning where I'll actually plate it and give it a little sample. I might stir it. I still got a couple hours before I go to bed. I want to see how it looks. If it hasn't reduced down with the liquid really covering it, I may give it one more stir before I go off to bed. But other than that, it's really, the liquid's right up top. It's looking really good. So I'm very pleased with where she is. Let me cover it. Get in there. That little piece of cilantro is trying to escape. And I'll bring you back in the morning and we'll show you what she's looking like. All this fish should really start to be nice and white and cooked, and it's going to be awesome. Hey, good morning, guys. I'm back. It looks great. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll show you the close-up a little bit. All right. Okay. Make sure I get it up in there for you. There you go. And, I do a light stir. This, oh, I just love the smell. You know, the acid might be a little much for some, first thing. The color is really nice. The fish has definitely cooked. The vegetables have definitely softened up a bit. Here, move that over. I'm going to get you a nice little shot in a sec here. Let me just keep scooping some out. We have a nice bit to look at and to eat. Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to make sure this is to tug right here. I'll put it right on top. And I'll bring it up to the camera. There we go. So as I bring this up here, I'm going to try to just hold it for a sec so you can get a nice look. But yeah, so this piece of fish right there, see, you see that? It really cooked well right through. It's nice and white. Oh my. The flavor is absolutely, it's awesome. It's really taking the flavor. And even the shrimp, I come nice and close. So I can hold it steady. There's that full cook, color, look, tender. Yeah. Well, I may as well show you the last piece here. Oh, it's still tender. And that, as you can see, yep, that's the salmon. Which is still quite soft. It's not flaky, but it's soft. It's got a really bright flavor added to it. And my pepper. It's giving a nice little kick. I could eat this all the time. Once I first discovered ceviche, I never looked back. I just absolutely crave it at times. And I will go to restaurants just because I haven't had it in a while and I just feel like I am due. And it was one of those things that I'm like, you know what? This doesn't look that hard to do. I must learn how to make this. And I've succeeded. This is, like I said, it really isn't that hard. It's not rocket science. It's just make sure you give it that nice level of acid. Don't be afraid. You're using straight lime in this case. I used that touch of lemon, and you don't have to water it down, tone it down. It's going to be absorbed into the vegetables and the fish or whatever seafood you choose. Remember, you want to use crab. It's very common to see crab in these ceviches. Lobster, I like the way the shrimp takes it in. I've seen mussels. Yep, you can really... The mussels that I've seen were pre-cooked because they go in, or if you just take a raw mussel and try to shuck it, it's just going to be formless. Oysters, once again, pre-cooked. Some of the shellfish, you really don't have much choice, but they do still take in the flavor. So, but for, oh God, your flaky fish, as you see, I used tog, which is not, that is a firm fish. And it just softens it up, and it takes in the flavor, and you do get a really, really nice result. So I'm going to finish my little bowl. I'm going to save the rest for later. Like I said, in a couple days, that's going to be gone. That's all it lasts. It will last several days in the fridge, because it's all in preservatives. It's sitting in that acid. And keep it chilled the whole time. Serve it chilled. And that is your ceviche. It's great stuff. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I hope someone out there tries it. If you do, please let me know what you made. I want to hear all about it because I know there's really some ceviche lovers out there that are just looking for, just maybe they're not sure just what it is that you can do and what you shouldn't do. But you know what? That's the beauty of it. You can do a lot. It's really, think of the flavors you like, think of what you enjoy, and just go do it. Don't be shy. What's the worst you can do? Fail? Try again? Okay, well, that's how I got here. So, thanks for tuning in. Duane and Nadia, Food, Travel, and Fun. Subscribe, hit the bell, tell your friends, and we'll see you next time.